With a record 98%, Uhuru Kenyatta becomes the president-elect as per declared by IEBC, the Electoral Commission here in Kenya. You're watching Tough Talk. I am Abubakar Abdullahi and welcome to the program. Remember, you can be part of the conversation. Of course, leave us a comment on our Facebook page and use the Twitter handle Tough Talk. Joining me to discuss that and give us a perspective and insight to the political happenings is a political analyst, Ezekiel. Ezekiel, thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much, sir.
With 98%, surely Uhuru joins the league of Kagame and the strong men of Africa who win elections with over 90%, does it?
Yes, he does. If you have no opponent, then you're even supposed to get 100%. So it is very that Uhuru got the 98%, simply because he was running against Kenyatta. Uhuru was running against Kenyatta.
For purposes of accuracy and veracity, we had other people who were vying for the position equally, isn't it? Yes. Jirongo was there, Dida himself was there. It's wrong to say he was the only one vying, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be wrong to say that because, yes, Rigari, I think they were 6. But we both know that Kenyatta was facing Uhuru in the ballot. If you add the numbers, all of them, they even do not add up to 1%. So it would be insignificant to say that they were in the ballot. Let's just assume they were there, but they did not make much of a choice.
Yes. Talking of the numbers of which you made mention of, there was an arithmetical confusion that got the concern of Kenyans. Yes. Slightly over 3 million, if not 4 million, came out in an hour's time to vote. What do you make of that?
Even me, I would want to ask Mr. Chepukati what was happening, because from 8 to 4, 3.5 million voted. All of a sudden, from 4 to 5, 4.5 million voted. If you are Roger Kenyan and the Kenyan who want to ask questions, you can ask that those numbers do not add up. I do not have the official numbers, but from my point of view, there was something that did not go right. There is no way 8 to 5, 8 to 4, 3.5 million voted, and within 1 hour, another 4.5 voted. I'm not offending the Chuguri people, but I want to say something did not go right. Yes.
Understanding the background of questions of credibility for the IEBC and seeing 4 million come to vote within an hour, does that dent the credibility? Does it even worsen the credibility?
First of all, we must say that the IEBC, even before it conducted the election, it was already invalid organ. Many Kenyans did not.
In what sense would you say it's an invalid organ?
Because half of the Kenyans did not have, they did not have confidence in the IEBC. Wafula Chebukati himself, there is another time he said that I'm not very sure if I can conduct a credible election.
That was on the 18th of August, yes.
The moment Chebukati said that, whether he tried to clean up the mess by saying the IBC is going to conduct another good election, it was already out of point. It was a sham. And that is what many people saw that as. Maybe the election was valid, by the way. But because of the mistake that Chebukati did by saying that he cannot be able to conduct a good general election, then automatically all the Kenyans had a dent in the
Fair enough. He equally came public saying he had confidence on the process, did he? Yeah. He said he had confidence after the process.
And that is where my point is coming at. That he might have conducted a better election. But because of what he said previously, then the whole thing was put into question. And there is a possibility that the election was free and fair, but as long as Kenyans do not see it as that, whether you did conduct a good election or not, it doesn't matter. It is being seen as one of the big sham we have ever had in an election history.
Odinga, the main opponent to Kenyatta, came publicly out saying there should be an election within 90 days. Deputy President William Ruto is now Deputy President-elect, came out saying there will be no elections till 2022. What are your thoughts on that?
One thing is for sure, this country is not going to have another election. In the 90 days, whether Kenyatta did not win in a good way, whether he won in a good way, there is no way this country is going to go to another election. And why do I say this? Because the IBC will use one good chance, and they are going to say that all the polling stations, they are open. It doesn't matter whether Migori voted. It doesn't matter whether Kibera voted. Were the polling station open? Yes. Did the people of that area decide not to vote? Yes. Did they block the polling station? Yes.
There were areas where polling stations were reportedly not open. So what happens in such a scenario? At least according to the reports of the media.
According to the reports of the media.
Yes.
First of all, let me say from my point of view, I was working with an electoral body, and we were getting the first-hand information about what was going on the ground. And all the polling stations, they were open, but the IBC officials could not conduct the election simply because of the security, and simply because people from from those sides, they were saying unless Baba says there is going to be an election, there is not going to be an election, and therefore IBC is going to say this. We did say that the materials were there, the polling station is here, but people from that region decided not to vote. And let me reiterate this: it is your choice to vote or not to vote. Therefore, if you decided not to vote, that cannot put the question, that cannot put the whole perspective of the election into question, because you are given the polling station were open, you had the right to go in and vote, but you decided not to vote, which is your democratic right.
Okay, you made mention of working with an electoral observer. Yes. Did the numbers you had as an observer group match the numbers of IEBC, just for purposes of clarity?
Of course, that is a very tricky question. But I would say the numbers we had, they had a question with what the IEBC gave. I cannot comment further than that, but we had a question of the numbers the IEBC gave and the numbers we had.
If you could give us a rough estimate of what the number is.
No, for now, I will withhold that information for confidentiality. Because as long as you work with those bodies, you are entitled to privacy. But what I might say is, the numbers that IEBC gave, there is a question mark on those numbers. Because the turnout, if I may say, if we look at the general turnout, even from Kiambu, even from Thika, maybe the percentage that Chebukati gave is not adding up. And I'm very impartial. Maybe
and when you say the numbers are not adding up, do you mean nationally, or there are specific areas where the numbers are not adding up?
You see, it starts from the low levels. And if the numbers that maybe came from Kadara, the one that IEBC official gave, is not the one that was being reported the IEBC, you see there is a connection between the national level and the polling station.
Fair enough.
Yes.
You said there will be no elections till 2022. Yes. We have petitions at the Supreme Court which have already been filed. What happens in a scenario that the elections is again annulled or nullified? And is there a possibility of an annulment, a second annulment? I
don't think so. I don't think there is a possibility of an annulment. And the only ground that the court have to go to the Supreme Court and ask for another general election is if they can show that the process was not followed. But the IBC will simply say, you are the one who broke the process. And we saw Maraga himself wake up to vote. And you see, let's remember that these judges are human beings, and they see a point from us as Kenyans. Do you want another election? Many of the majority of Kenya will say no.
Even though he said the election should be done with strict accordance to the law. Fair enough. Let's say
the election were conducted with accordance with the law, and unless somebody shows that the election were not conducted in accordance to the law, as for what we saw yesterday, the election were free and fair, unless court goes, NASA goes to the court and shows us otherwise. And the reason I'm saying there is not going to be another election is the moment the moment Raila Odinga decided that he's going to form a resistance movement, he immediately became a vigilante. And once you become a vigilante,
based on his words, or based on an action?
Based on his word, he said that we are going to form a national resistance movement,
which he said is a peaceful one. He didn't specify whether it will be a violent.
And let me tell you something. As long as the perspective you get, it doesn't matter what you say. How people view what you say is what matters. And right now, many people are looking at Raila Odinga as a vigilante, and on that ground, the Jubilee government can, if it has a mandate to rule with a decree that NASA has become one of a terrorist group. And that is something
that's a harsh and a strong word to use.
It is.
Using a terrorist word for a national resistance movement.
Deputy president.
That says it.
You know, I'm trying to remember the words of the deputy president when he was doing a CNN interview. These are not my words. He said that NASA is becoming a terrorist movement. And when you say that, there is a way you can generalize your word and use it as a security.
Words which are actually described as divisive.
Divisive,
yes.
Yes.
Moving on, Uhuru Kenyatta is the president-elect. What should be his priority at this time?
I think, it is a mandate for Kenyatta to unite Kenya. Half the Kenyans is divided, and I saw this analogy where they are saying if 48% voted for Kenyatta, then it means the 52% who did not vote. Then they start with Raila Amolo Odinga. And okay, it is a logic which I don't understand, but it makes a lot of sense. So Kenyatta has a lot to do, and that he will have to unite Kisumu. He will have to unite Migori. Whether they declared the votes without counting the result from the 25 constituencies, it means Kenyatta has to go to Kisumu. Kisumu is Kenya. We have to understand that Kibera is Kenya. So if you want to be the president for all Kenyans, then he must go to these places. I don't know what he's going to do for him to be accepted there, but as a president, that is mandate.
As we conclude, what do you see as the foresight, the future of the national resistance movement? Use a strong, harsh word to describe them, but be fair.
This is going to be an interesting time. And I'm trying to look at what Raila Amolo Odinga is going to be doing with the national resistance movement. Are they going to go to the forest? Are they going to fight as a civil war? One thing I know is for sure.
He said it will be a peaceful resistance.
A peaceful resistance. But Raila has to understand that his people work. And if you are an employee and you decide to boycott work simply because you are protesting something, you are the one who is going to lose. So unless Mr. Odinga comes with a better strategy, I must say that NASA resistance movement is dead on arrival.
Ezekiel, we'll have to end it there. Thanks for joining me. And that brings us to the end of Tough Talk. Remember, you can be part of the conversation. As I earlier said, leave us a comment and share with us your thoughts. I am Abubakar Abdullahi. Till next time, goodbye.